Hi everyone, this is Arushi from Requil. It feels so good to have you guys for our second episode of virtual expert panel discussion organized by Requil. Requil, as you all know, is well known for its efficacy-driven formulations that addresses skin and hair concerns, but that is not possible if the brand doesn't have any ears to its ground. So we'll be discussing at length about skin cycling and skin barrier. So they'll be like the topic for the today's panel discussion. So therefore, we have with us Dr. Mansi Shirolkar, a well-known dermatologist from Madhya Pradesh, and Raisa Tolia, a renowned face as skin and lifestyle influencer from Mumbai. Thank you for joining with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, Arushi.
So many of us can relate to all the hype going around active ingredients and multiple layerings. Ironically, all the people, like everybody is going with the flow and making uninformed decisions for their skin, which is resulting in, of course, inflammation and purging and damaging skin barrier. Considering this point, Dr. Mansi, could you please explain as to what skin barrier is, its importance, and also, what possible mistakes can lead to the damage of
it? Okay. So firstly, to understand skin barrier, it's quite simple. I mean, the name is quite self-explanatory. The skin barrier is basically the upper layers of your skin, which form a barrier to the outside elements. Now, outside elements include of course, the sun and UV damage. Will also include bacteria, viruses, different fungi, antioxidants, oxidation by pollution and other environmental stressors. Of course, even a change in climate, as we know now, currently AQI is such a huge thing currently. So, even the dust that comes through, just in general, protecting the integrity of the skin is what the skin barrier does. It is essentially the topmost layers of your skin. It's essentially the topmost layers of your skin, which contain not only the skin cells, but also contain lipids. So if you think of it as a wall with cement and bricks, so your skin cells would be the bricks, whereas the cement, which is also equally important to sort of maintain that structure and reinforce it, that cement would be the lipids. So lipids, the most popular lipid and the lipid that has the highest majority is also ceramides. So we'll come to that. I'll come to that also in a bit, but that is essentially your skin barrier. And it's really important, of course, to protect it so that all these other outside factors don't come in and try to destroy the skin structure.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Raisa, have you also experienced any kind of like skin damaging? Have you also experienced damaged skin barrier?
Yeah, so I have had damaged skin barrier many times actually, and that's because usually it's because of overuse of actives, which I'm sure all of us have done at some point or the other. And you underestimate your skin and you think, oh, nothing's gonna happen to it because I've been using things for ages. But that's not true. A lot has to also do with the weather, your hormones at the time, along with your skin keeps changing based on things that are happening around as well. So it's very important to know what must have suited your skin maybe 2 years ago might not be the case today, and that's not for any other reason. It could just be a change in a bunch of things. So yeah, I've had damaged skin barrier many times now, and but I'm a lot more careful now because I obviously know my skin a lot more as well. And yeah.
Great. So you know that skin cycling is actually one of the most, trending topic these days. So Dr. Mans, it would be great if you could just, give us some insights as to what skin cycling actually is.
Absolutely. So see, skin cycling, again, the name is very self-explanatory here as well. So this is a process wherein you cycle your active ingredients. This primarily applies to the PM routine more than your AM routine. So in this, the most common one that is being employed is a 4-day cycle. So wherein you apply different active ingredients on each of these days. You can, of course, have a cycle of 3 days, 6 days, a week, however your skin tolerates it. But the most popular one that is currently being used is the 4-day cycle. In here, you have your your day one, which is exfoliation. So in this, you can exfoliate with AHAs, with BHAs. You can, of course, exfoliate with other products like LHAs, PHAs, enzymatic exfoliation. There are a lot of ways to do this. Of course, followed by moisturizer. The day two is your retinol day. A lot of people, of course, might think, okay, I've exfoliated and I've immediately put retinol. So it will, again, like I said, that's why the 4-day cycle, while it is there, you have to also kind of customize it to your skin's needs. Day two is your retinol if you are somebody who has sensitive skin, start with a lower percentage. And then you have day 4 and day 5, which are your rest and recovery days to sort of strengthen your skin barrier, reinforce it. If in case you have gone a little, extra the first few days, you can then sort of just make sure that your barrier is fine the remaining 2 days. So they're like a rest and recovery sort of period wherein you just want to use soothing, nourishing, hydrating ingredients like ceramides, allantoin, centella, etc.
Great. That was a very detailed overview of what actually skin cycling is. So also, I would like to know, in particular, like, is it suitable for all skin types? Especially wanted to know people who are suffering from rosacea and eczema.
Okay, so it is, again, yes, you can, every skin type can use skin cycling, but like I said, you have to sort of customize it to your skin's type, your skin's concerns, and your skin's needs. So if you have a concern like eczema or rosacea, you would want to start off with gentler ingredients. So for example, your day one skin cycle would include, instead of, a higher percentage of salicylic acid, like for example, 2% BHA is what is available, 2% salicylic acid is what's available over the counter very easily. So instead of that, you would want to include, let's say, a 1% BHA or even lower, or you may want to not use salicylic acid at all and use, betaine salicylate. So that is one way that you can use BHAs. If you're talking about AHAs, you might want to use gentler AHAs, or, for example, like lactic acid or mandelic acid. Or you may want to skip AHA, BHA together altogether and move for LHAs or PHAs. These are a little less easily available or less heard about, but they are present, they are available in India, and they are effective. And if you can't use any leave-on serum, at least you can use like a good exfoliating face wash, keep it for some time, wash it off, or use a wash-off mask for like 4 minutes or 5 minutes. So that is something that they can do for day one. For day two, again, start with a lower percentage of retinol, use gentler variants of retinol, like again retinol or retinol esters. You can use a sandwich technique whereby they'll be sandwiching retinol between 2 layers of moisturizer, or they can use short contact therapy wherein they'll be washing off their retinoid in 1 hour or even 30 minutes if that's something that they're better off with. And when it comes to day 4 and day 3 and 4, they would then use, again, way more nourishing ingredients like ceramides or peptides, which will, strengthen their skin barrier.
Okay. Thank you. Now coming to you, Raisa, have you done, since you must have also done skin cycle, I would like to know, like,
Yeah.
how frequently you practiced it, and secondly, like, what was your morning routine the next day?
Okay, so I did do skin cycling even before it was called skin cycling per se, but the only difference is I didn't do like a 4-day thing that Dr. Mansi kind of mentioned. Mine was slightly different because when I did exfoliator and retinol one night after the other, it didn't really work for me at the beginning when I was just getting used to, exfoliators and retinoids together because I do use a prescription retinoid many a times in the year. So when I do that along with the glycolic acid, both of those together, like, one night after another is not really the best option for me. So what I did was I would exfoliate once or twice a week, and the days I would exfoliate, the next night I would do like a moisturizing routine with no active. So it would be heavy on ceramides per se, very heavy on a hydrating toner, all of that, but stayed away from the retinoids. And then after that day, I would go back to a retinoid. And then alternate it like that. So it would be exfoliator, ceramide, moisturizing, whatever, then a glycolic acid or any sort of chemical exfoliator for that matter, mostly AHAs. And then again, a ceramide routine. So I would alternate it that way because, like I said, the one with, you say an exfoliator and then a retinoid the next day doesn't always work for me, especially in the winters. It's a total no-no for me, even though I have like, combination acne-prone skin, but during the winters, my skin does go dry. So this would be a total disaster for my skin. Um, so I think what I have learned over the years is there's no, I mean, obviously skin cycling is a trend or, the name that we're
Yeah.
talking about. But dermatologists and, people on the skin have been saying this for ages anyway, wherein, they tell you not to really use a heavy duty active every single night and to kind of gradually, increase the frequency of it. But still, even, I mean, a lot of dermats themselves also probably don't use a retinoid every night for
Yeah.
that matter. And you have to see where your skin is at. So just because this is working for me today does not mean, like I said before, it'll work in 3 months. You have to keep, being very mindful of your skin, of what you're putting into your body,
Yeah.
of your
So
lifestyle,
what is
everything
working
in
the
general.
best for you and your skin?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah. So it's important because, many times people are like, huh, but that worked for me. But I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, it worked for you then, but probably now it's not working
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
for you today. So that's one thing. And the other thing is, when friends are like, oh, but this is better than what you are doing, it's nice to talk about things. But again, your friend's entire lifestyle, skin, everything is so different from that of yours, that don't just blindly follow for the sake of following, no matter what. And
Yeah, it's
when
just
it
that
comes
they
to the next,
coined some fancy term, skin cycling, but it's
yeah.
like you mentioned, it's been there,
Yeah, it's been
for-
there. It's just not probably defined in this 4 day
yeah,
thing and everything. So you have to kind of define it also for yourself sometimes. And if you're a beginner, so I would tell you that I don't think this exfoliating one day and then retinoids the other day is a very good idea for you anyway. I would say, first start with just getting used to one of them, which is like an exfoliator for a long amount of time, and then you start including a retinoid and then see whether your skin will be able to take it like 2 nights in a row and then go ahead with it. Because like Dr. Mansi has already said, the importance of your skin barrier is so huge that we are just blinded to be like, oh, I want to use this active,
yes,
that
yeah,
active, and everything's
that's
going to
so
go
true.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah, but if your skin barrier is ruined, you can't use anything. Sometimes you can't even
that's
put
true.
water on your face.
Yeah, that's
So, yeah,
wonderful
so I think that's
that you
very
added.
important. And for the next morning, I think that was the other question, right? Like, what do I do the morning
Yeah,
after?
the morning after.
So, like Dr. Mansi also said, honestly, your morning routine doesn't change much. And even my morning routine has probably been the same for ages, which is I don't double cleanse in the mornings. I do like a single cleanse. I use a hydrating toner after that, which is very common. Like that's what I do on most days. And if my skin's clogged, then maybe like a salicylic acid. But otherwise, I use a vitamin C and niacinamide every morning, and that works really well for me. And the days I need like that extra hydration, I'll put some hyaluronic acid and seal it with like a really nice moisturizer or an extremely like dewy sunscreen per se. So then I skip the moisturizer and just go for the sunscreen. But yeah, this is usually my routine, and honestly, this doesn't trouble what I do in the nights because honestly, vitamin C and niacinamide are quite they're actives that a lot of people can tolerate. I'm not saying there aren't people who
Yeah,
can't. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are people out there, but otherwise, these are very easy actives, especially for my skin. They work really well. Like I never have to think before putting vitamin C and a niacinamide. And also during the day, they're very protective, especially vitamin C with your sunscreen are the most protective combination that you can have out there to protect your skin from the sun, from, the pollution, dust, all the oxidative stress that we have to like deal with. So yeah, that's basically my morning routine, even when I'm skin cycling.
yeah, because what I personally feel there are so many ingredients out there, and you just I have to be number one very consistent in what you're doing actually to know the result. Because we as a
Yeah,
person, we think, oh, this is trending, let's apply this and let's see, and then we say,
yeah,
oh, this didn't work for us because we don't generally give the time to that particular product to
yeah,
actually sinking.
That's one. And then the other thing we do is we do a lot of overuse and no patch testing.
Yes.
So it's
That's
basically doing extremes of anything is a big problem. People want results overnight. Nothing is an overnight result.
overnight. That's true.
Yeah, nothing is like nothing at all. But so that's a really big thing. Like honestly, Dr. Mansi, she'll vouch on this that even her own clients, it takes 3 months, 6 months, sometimes
Yeah.
1 year of work.
Or
Yeah,
more.
so it's not like one ingredient or one, just work like a magic overnight and
Yeah,
like
like even Botox takes 2 weeks to act. Like literally
Exactly.
injected in your skin. Yeah.
Yeah.
so I
Like
think one needs to
consistency
be
is
patient
key
also.
and you have to be patient.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the key for a good skincare. At least be patient. Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, so thank you, Raisa, for telling in details your routine. So Dr. Mansi, would you like to add something, some final point to all this, the discussion that we had to skin
No,
cycling,
so
skin
like
barrier?
Raisa said, skin cycling has been around for a while. It's just not
Some
been called
tips.
skin cycling. So okay, yeah. So like Raisa said, like I fully agree with her that skin cycling has been around for a while. It's just not been called as skin cycling. So this is something that, even I use personally. I make my patients use it because skin cycling is going to, in the end, help you tolerate your actives better because you're giving a gap, essentially. It's going to help you tolerate your actives better. It's going to, show results, and it's like it'll help you build consistency rather than going on, layering a lot of things. This is a good way to build consistency. And then like the other actives such as niacinamide, vitamin C can then be used in the morning, which Raisa, for example, is already doing. So I personally don't use vitamin C a lot. I just use it when I'm very sure I'm not going to break out at all. If I've had like a month of clear skin, which is very rare, then I go ahead and I try vitamin C. But usually all your other actives, whether it's peptides, niacinamide, vitamin C, arbutin, tranexamic acid, all of this are safe to use in the morning if you are somebody who's using, these particular days for skin cycling. My only thing would be, again, don't try to put too many things on your face. Patch testing is so important and so overlooked. Just a few quick sort of hacks or tips or whatever that I already did touch upon earlier is if you're somebody who's building a routine for yourself, patch test what you're using. If you're using actives for the first time, whatever active it may be, even if it's something mild like a mandelic or a lactic acid, you might want to first, use the moisturizer sandwich wherein you apply a layer of moisturizer. It can even be a thin layer of moisturizer. Then you're active and then reapply moisturizer. That's one thing. Second thing you might want to try, again, if you're somebody who has sensitive skin, who is trying actives for the first time, is short contact therapy, wherein, again, you'll apply the active ingredient, wash it off in an hour or two, and then apply moisturizer. This is a really good way for you to be able to use products more efficiently while still maintaining the structure of your skin barrier.
Great. So, I think even I'm taking a long point information from you. Also, like when we talk about skin cycling, I would also like to know another important thing, the importance of sunscreen. I mean, what about sunscreen? Like, how we use it when we're doing skin cycling, or like what is the importance of it, sunscreen?
I don't think it really changes. Like sunscreen, the importance of sunscreen is so high, we're fed up of saying it only. I think people are fed up of hearing us say it. But the problem again over there also is people are like,
So
oh,
the
I put
awareness has
sunscreen, but
gone up.
nothing happens. Yeah, 100%. I think it's a combination of information and the amount of sunscreens that are in the market
Yeah.
also now and accessibility to sunscreens as well. And wherein there are nice sunscreens for really, really good prices out there. But I do think again very underrated and people come out, oh, I put sunscreen, but nothing's happening. But what should happen? Like I'm just like,
That's the
okay,
point.
like
You shouldn't be getting a sunburn. That's what's happening.
yeah. And also I think the benefits of a sunscreen is something you'll only see in your later life, not now. So if you use a sunscreen now is when, you will appreciate what you're doing for your skin now. Everything is not about, oh, where are the results today? You probably have to think of it like a long-term investment policy, know, wherein you're like, okay, like I'm putting it now. It's more protective than active days. That's why actives are called actives, but a sunscreen is more so protection, for your skin per se.
Right.
That's great.
Yeah,
What's
but when
your
it comes to skin cycling, I don't think anything changes.
Not
Like you have
not
to
really. You
still
still have to
do
apply
the
sunscreen no
usual.
matter what you've done the previous night. You have to.
That's great. So thank you both of you for this quite informative session. I'm sure the audience must have gauged quite a lot of information as to what skin cycling and skin barrier. Like I personally know, like how Dr. Mansi and Raisa you both have explained. And thank you so much for joining us.